Welcome to a 30-minute long video where I profess my love for Bloodborne PvP and my ability to press buttons other than R1. Check out this phantom backstab. But how does it work, Saint? He's in iframes, he takes no damage, however he's still in the backstab's grab box, to put it in Dark Souls 3 terms. He still has his back to me in an animation where I am doing a backstab setup, so he gets put in the backstab. This host right here, we're going to hit them with some hyper armor on this L1, and then that R1 that follows is a true combo. And here, they're going to swing with this Ludwig's Holy Blade 3 times, which means parry. We're going to press R1 as soon as we pull the trigger on that parry, and we're going to get that sweet, sweet illegal burrito. People complain about skill builds and say they do too much visceral damage. Anybody does enough visceral damage if you set it up with the illegal burrito. So keep that in mind. Everybody benefits from that, especially skill builds, obviously, but your average strength build or arcane build, blood tinge build, whatever, throw a burrito in there and your viscerals will do a shit ton of damage. But before we get into the in-depth stuff, let's look at our tools. Beast blood pellets, very good for PvE, but they can be serviceable for PvP if your weapon relies on R2s a lot. Blue elixir, sort of the obscuring ring of Dark Souls 3 or the ring of fog. At a distance, it makes it very hard for your opponents to see you. If you stand still, a lot of times you can trick people. Lead elixir is basically perseverance, except you drink it and it lasts for like a minute. You get no increase to your defense, so you're still taking regular damage. However, you cannot be staggered except by big weapons, which makes this thing in 3v1s an absolute must sometimes. You can buy these with insight. You get insight from winning invasions. It's a reward for winning invasions. You can buy tools to help you win invasions. Oh my god, it makes sense, doesn't it? Numbing Mist, this is basically the undead hunter charm of Bloodborne. You can throw it at someone's feet or your own feet if they're crowding you. Otherwise, I throw them at distance because that seems to be the sweet spot to hit them. You can buy weapon buffs here in the Insight shop. However, you can also buy them with blood echoes from the other Bath messengers. But the Insight shop, we get insight for doing invasions. It makes sense to come here. Now, let's say you've bought a bunch of something and you have too much of it. You can't keep it all on you. You come to this box, you press R1, and it brings you to storage. And you can drag stuff out of storage. So let's say you had an invasion and you used a couple lead elixirs or a blue elixir. You can pull one out from storage right here. This is where you're going to find everything that you can't carry multiples of stored here. For example, you can only carry 20 throwing knives or poison knives. So all your remaining poison knives will be in the storage box. This is how you get them out. Bone Marrow Ash, it's good, quote unquote good, for cannons or blood tinge builds, but you know, I'll just do with that information, do whatever you want with it. Now, the reason you come back to your hub here is basically like lore. It can be a pain in the ass, but get used to it. Oil urns, though, if you've got a fire gem in your weapon, or if you use a lot of Molotov cocktails, or delayed Molotovs, or roped Molotov cocktails, or you have fire buff on your weapon, hit an opponent with an oil urn and do yourself a favor. You'll do way, way, way more damage. Oil urns decrease their fire defense by a shit zillion. Alright, so up here we're looking at my my tool belt. This is from the options menu on the PlayStation controller. Up here is where I keep buffs that I don't need access to, like right away, stuff that has a little bit of, you know, forethought to it. So I keep my Messenger's Gift here, which is basically Chameleon for arcane builds. Blue elixirs, lead elixirs, the kind of buffs that you can get to quickly, but not so quick that you just have to press square to get to them. This is stuff that, you know, when you have a second, you can use these buffs. Now down here on your quick items, which you access by pressing square, just like your regular Dark Souls menu, this is where I keep my spells, since I'm an arcane build. You put your spells here. If you're a strength build or whatever, you can put your Molotov cocktails, your buffs, stuff like that. You can keep it there. Blood tinge builds would keep their bone marrow ash there, etc. Madaris whistle, that kind of thing. So this is where you keep like numbing mists, throwing knives, Molotovs, stuff like that. Stuff that you need to be able to get to. One of the things that I don't think people talk enough about is how brilliant it was of FromSoft to just give healing its own button, triangle, so that you don't have to fumble through your menu when you're trying to heal. You don't have to even hold down to scroll directly to your Estus. It's great. These are the Bath Messengers. Of course, you can buy weapon buffs and different consumable items here. You unlock more items the more bosses you kill, so that's how you get to these sorts of things. Blood vials, don't farm these. Don't be a meme. Don't be a living meme who complains about fucking farming in Bloodborne. Don't farm blood vials. Just buy them. Buy them right here. You can purchase them with blood echoes. It's easier to get blood echoes than it is to get blood vials. Make a run through a chalice dungeon or the end game levels and spend those blood echoes on blood vials. Don't. Jesus Christ. Alright. Let's go do some invasions. So just to sort of show off the weapons I'm using here, I'm invading in Yarhar Ghul. This is a later game area. So I'm using a plus 10 weapon. I've got 3 Nourishing Gems on it. Nourishing Gems for the Holy Moonlight Sword. It increases attack up, not physical attack. You can see the add physical attack is all bonus. The meat of that gem is attack up, which means physical attack and arcane attack. Nourishing Gems are great for the Tenitris, the Holy Moonlight Sword, weapons that have that, split damage or whatever, because it sends both of those. It gives both of those a percentage-based boost. These other weapons I just kind of play around with. A physical Kirkhammer, I can buff it with the Phantasm Shell. I've got like a lightning cleaver. I keep the pistol and the blunderbuss both on me. The pistol is for parrying heal attempts, and the blunderbuss is for parrying R1 spam. I find that those two serve those respective situations best. So it's nice to have both of them on you. You can switch that up and keep a shield there for bullet spammers, or flame the gas can or the Rosmarinus for arcane builds if you would prefer to do that. But that's just how I run it. So right off the bat, I showed you my plus 10 weapon. Our first invasion is what? It's a 2v1 bonfire fight. Bloodborne doesn't have weapon upgrade matchmaking, which means I don't have to live in fear of this, like in Dark Souls 3, where I would try absolutely everything in my power to get these guys to come out and fight me outside with the monsters. Free aimed, the numbing mist there. But because I've got that plus 10 weapon, I can do like all kinds of damage to these guys, and that's really all you need to win these fights, is just you out damage these guys. So I can run in there and just absolutely raffle stomp 2v1s or 3v1s with my plus 10 Doomsday weapon. I'm focusing on this guy until he gets 2 heals off. Once he gets 2 heals off, there will be no point in chasing him anymore. I might as well just go back to the host who has the buffed weapon and is actually chasing me, doing damage. Pay attention to my health bar during these fights, and you'll notice because of the rally mechanic, I'm able to fight 2 and 3v1s because I'm regaining health back as I'm dealing damage to my opponents. Hyper armor weapon, like the Holy Moonlight Sword, is the living god of poise. The R1 has a little bit of poise, enough to get you through straight swords and smaller, and the R2 has a little more poise than that, or maybe it just starts up faster, not sure entirely. But it's got so much poise. You unlock poise by being a smart boy. That's why intelligence builds get poise now. So in a 1v1, I like to basically play around and just see like what sort of stuff I can make happen. I love fights in this game, so I'm not here to like try and make them as short as possible or just win and just beat this guy. I'm more interested in trying out some stuff. So like you'll see me try stuff like that. I was trying for a backstab with the Augur of Ebrietas, whatever. It's hard to pull off, but if you can do it, it's awesome. And then you'll see me playing Unlocked a lot. You'll see me doing like a lot of backsteps and just playing flashy. Because one, I can. This guy's not, he's not pressuring me enough. He does do decent damage. Right there he gets me with that third R1, and his fourth R1 starts up really fast, which tells me 2 things. One, this guy has a lot of endurance, and 2, he's playing on Wi-Fi. We've got some latency between us. he's going to get me with that third R1 on several occasions because I can't dodge it at the time I'm accustomed to dodging it. And then just based off how he'll just kind of skip around every once in a while, I know he's playing on a Wi-Fi connection. Right there you saw me, I used the transformation attack. I didn't mean to. Let's take that back. I meant to do a transformation attack. What happened was I did a transformation out of neutral, which does nothing for me. It completely halts my momentum. Typically, if I'm going to transform my weapon into its tricked mode, I'll do so with an attack. You can press R1, L1 with pretty much every weapon, and the L1 not only transforms your weapon, but it also attacks, which is awesome. And there's no reason to press R1, R1 in this game, because unlike Dark Souls, the 2R1 true combo is not a thing. You have to actually, like, you know, think about, like, okay, well, what is my opponent doing? If they're hyper aggressive, sure, press R1 twice. You'll probably get them twice. But if they back off every time you hit them, you need to be thinking about a different attack to follow up with R1, take a step forward, R2. Now, he managed to dodge that, so, you know, fair play. But the point remains the same. You're going to try different stuff besides just R1, R1, which is another thing that makes this game absolutely beautiful. That netcode, though. I know. I did manage to space that out. The R2 into the L1, R1, you'll see me do that a lot because there's so much hyper armor, and L1, R1 is a true combo if the L1 hits. The charged R2 follow-up R2 is also an awesome move. It's a bit of a golf swing. So here we finally get the parry on that third R1 that we haven't gotten it since the beginning of the fight, but that was against the Phantom, I think, not this guy. So we've figured out the latency issues, I guess. Still, though, we're an arcane build, so we don't do a lot of damage. He's still swinging too many times, which means we're probably going to get him with another parry at some point. So this time we do the R2 burrito. And as soon as we pulled that trigger, we were dashing forward and pressing R2 and R1 at almost the exact same time to trigger that R2 into the R1. Here we get him with a backstab. Tried to go for the burrito backstab, messed it up. But that's the sort of stuff, you can work on this. You can practice these things, and you can do that when you've got, like, the solo host. If I just came in here and absolutely, like, murdered this guy, I wouldn't have a chance to play around with all these different techniques. A great time to go for a backstab is after a riposte, because, or a visceral, after a parry visceral, because it lays the opponent flat down. Anytime you do an attack that knocks the opponent down, that's a great time to try and position yourself for a backstab. You might not get the backstab damage on the fully charged R2. You might not get damage on that, but there's a good chance you'll still get that phantom backstab. We know he's going for 3 R1s. He always goes for 3 R1s. We've got him in a nice little pressure chain here. Every time he takes a step back, he gets hit with an R1. He decides he doesn't like the speed matchup, so he switches to a faster weapon, but he's already out of health, so not really much he can do. But think about all the cool stuff we did. The parries, the burritos, the backstabs. All of that was because, you know, we took our time with this fight, and we learned. We tried to learn stuff. So after that fight, I'm completely out of blood bullets. I'm sorry, Quicksilver bullets. I'm very low on blood vials. I've got 2 options here. I can throw myself off this ledge right here, and I'll spawn back at the bonfire, fully stocked. Or I can return to the Hunter's Dream. Now, if you return to the Hunter's Dream, you might as well go ahead and restock your, blue elixirs, your lead elixirs, and stuff like that. And, the game wants you to do that. Another option you have is you can just run straight into this amygdalin laser. That'll send you back to the bonfire pretty quick. But since we didn't use any stuff like that, we don't have to worry about it. We can just toss ourselves off this ledge over here, sit through the loading screen, and respawn back at the bonfire ready to invade. As opposed to going back to the Dream and then back here to do some more invades. But we'll take a break from this character. I've been using this guy a lot, so we'll swap characters. We've got this skill build here And we've got the Sinister Bell ringing. It's not picked anything up for about 30 seconds, so I'm going to go ahead and silence it. When you silence it, though, the game searches one last time, real quick, and what do you know? You find your invasion. If you ring your bell and you sit around for about 30 seconds, you don't find anything, turn it off and, try again. You'll probably get an invasion. All right, so the Cooperator just died to PvE. So this isn't going to be much of a fight. Now this guy, I'll give him credit, his build is actually kind of thought out. He's low level, obviously, but he has his build figured out. He's running an arcane build, so he went ahead and he got the Tonitrus. He's done Yahar'gul already, because he's got the armor. Or he probably did the Hypogean Gowl, or whatever. But he's got the Hunter Bone. He seems like a pretty competent opponent, but then he's going to start in with the blunderbuss spam, and at that point it just immediately stops being fun. If somebody's shooting at you with a blunderbuss from that far away, they have absolutely no idea what they're doing. The R2 L1 on the Beast Hunter sword, I'm not trying to pronounce that word, is just fantastic. I go for a couple heal parries, he's not going to heal, so let's just finish him off. Boom, done. But the R2 L1 on the Beast Hunter sword is just, it's awesome. The word, however you pronounce it, Scythe, is Arabic for sword. So Beast Hunter sword, that's the name of that weapon. But a fun little invasion, but we only used one blood vial. We only used 2 Quicksilver bullets. So I just go ahead and I invade again without worrying about restocking. And what do you know? It's a 3v1. Now these guys aren't doing a lot of damage, so I stuck with the Beast Hunter sword because it's not as upgraded as my Blades of Mercy. Then I realized there's 3 of them, and I'm like, oh yeah, forget that. Let's go with the Blades of Mercy. So I'm being chased down here. Use 1 blood vial. And we're going to hit this trap, and unfortunately it just finishes the host right off. But we still get a pretty good Madaris Whistle. That knocks him down. We go in for the fully charged R2 on Wake Up. We managed to get rid of the Phantom and the host. So pretty good invasion all in all. Again, didn't use any blood vial. We used 1 blood vial and 5 bullets. So we just go straight into another invasion. And what do you know? Since we didn't bother restocking, what is this one? It's the 3v1 with 2 password summons. 1 using Blades of Mercy, which when you pair that with any other weapon, the stun lock becomes unreal. And what is his Phantom buddy? What are the... Oh, the Saw Spear. Fantastic. This is Bloodborne's equivalent of the Dark Souls 3 straight sword. The Saw Spear is probably, hands down, the best weapon in the game, period. And that guy does a shit ton of damage, as we will see shortly. So this is going to be a tough fight. I need to use their own hubris against them. They know that they're fucking immortal god beings with full-blown autistic Korean kid gyms. So he knows he's just going to whip my ass, and he is going to whip my ass. Look at the damage on that. However, he's not the smartest knife in the book. And overleveled Phantoms fall for that stuff way too easy. This guy with the Blades of Mercy, not a great player. He mashes R1 a lot with the Blades of Mercy, which is, it's kind of what you're supposed to do. If you get somebody pinned against a wall, or if somebody mistimes a dodge with Blades of Mercy, that R1 stun lock is insane. Not sure why that wasn't a parry. Not sure why that wasn't a parry. I don't know. Maybe he can't parry that attack. He did it twice. I'm pretty sure I parried it twice. Nothing happened. I'm expecting him to heal. He's a little smarter than that, so he's not going to let me get the gun parry on his heal. So off he goes, and boom, he heals. Fantastic. We're already down to 6 Quicksilver bullets and 14 blood vials. The good news is we've finished off 1 overleveled Phantom, and this isn't Dark Souls 3, so he can't immediately summon it again. Thank Christ. Using some tricky combos with the Blades of Mercy, as well as the generic standard play Quickstep R1. Everybody uses that Quickstep R1 a lot. I like the one-handed moves on the Blades of Mercy. Fully charged R2 into the R1, fully charged R2 into the L1. I do that a lot. Even if you miss the fully charged R2, people will have put themselves in a position typically to try and punish you, right? So if you hit them with an L1 follow-up, you do pretty good damage, and you stagger them, you can follow it up with some R1s. And if they mistime their dodge, and they dodge right into your fully charged R2 like that guy did, you know, the fully charged R2 does pretty good damage. One of my favorite things to do, one of my like go-tos in this game, is any sort of attack, follow that attack up with L1. If you hit an R1, don't press R1 again, hit L1. If you hit an R2, try the L1 after that. The transformed attacks just do crazy amounts of damage, they look cool as hell, they're great. I'm using Simon's Bowblade, basically for just the roll catch potential, and this guy's content to keep making trays with me, which is just absolutely ridiculous. I've only got one bullet, so I'm kind of screwed here. I can't like, and there it goes. I was hoping for the cool finish, but the guy dodged around pretty well when he got low on health, so it was going to be hard to finish him off. However, Simon's Bowblade here is, oh dude man, this thing is really good. The running R1, I can't say enough good things about running R1s and running R2s on weapons in this game. You'll see a lot of people try and do roll catches. You know, remember, they're not rolls, they're dashes, they're quick steps. You'll see people try and do quick step punishes, or a quick step catch. You'll see people try and do quick step catches with a quick step attack, okay? So people respond to circle spam with circle R1 spam. Alright, I would advise you to seriously look into your weapons running R1 or it's running R2. A lot of those moves are better suited for chase downs. It gets me with the tiny Tonitrus here, very clever. I just ran straight into it because I was so greedy. You saw me, I healed up to full, I made 5 Quicksilver bullets. I want to be able to come to this lantern and do the 2v1 at the lantern and finish this fight off. So I need those 5 bullets in case I'm able to get a heal parry, finish off this host. I'm a skill build, they probably won't be able to withstand one visceral from me. Look at that damage though. That's what happens when you pair the Blades of Mercy up with any other weapon. In this situation, it's Blades of Mercy and Blades of Mercy, making it exceptionally annoying, because if anybody hits me, I'm stuck taking like 9 hits in a row. Fortunately, this host didn't upgrade his weapon, or you know, he didn't seek the Holy Chalice, so he's not doing a lot of damage. Look at that! It's disgusting. I'm going to drink a lead elixir here, using that log as a sort of blind spot. Now the R1 still has quite a bit of forward momentum to it, so right there you see me doing it. The lead elixir doesn't slow me down too much, and I'm able to pull off fully charged R2s because these guys just keep swinging into me like goobers. Blades of Mercy are never going to stagger me out of this thing. R1, L1. Go ahead and hit it with the fire paper buff. That way if we hit that guy with the R1, L1 again, it'll put him close to dead. I have no idea what kind of build this guy's running. He's using the Blades of Mercy and the Tiny Tonitrus. And he does no damage with his viscerals. I have no idea what this guy's build is. We're going to go for the R2, the Beast Hunter Sword. Does a shit ton of damage. We'll follow it up with an R1. Rip. Here he gets a lucky parry. He dashes away from me because he was afraid he wasn't going to get the parry. I immediately go for a parry afterwards because he ran in, you know, and obviously I was going to be out of the visceral animation by that point. Didn't get that parry, but I did get the heal parry and finish this guy off. And so you have 2 invasions that were kind of and then you have just an absolute barn burner, of course, when you don't fully restock your blood vials and your Quicksilver bullets. Enough dex, dude. Let's do strength guy. One thing I would add is in between invasions, if you have a few blood vials, but you know you didn't go through all of them, instead of going all the way back to the dream or jumping off a ledge or something, another thing you can do is you can just kill some of the enemies that are around, and most of them will drop blood vials. And if you're just down 2 blood vials, you can just kill a couple enemies, get 2 blood vials, go back to invading. Now, both gates are closed. I know that the main gate is open. It has to be open in order for him to get invaded here. So I know he's got that main gate opened. Now, 2 things possibly happened. Either 1, he just opened it just now, or 2, and both are equally likely, some invader has come in here and closed this guy's shortcuts. You can't close the main shortcut though. So I see here none of these enemies have been bothered at all. So no, they've not been up here. I'm going to check this doorway right here and check and see if this guy's still hanging out. He is. So that means that these people have not stepped foot back here. They've not come back here. Maybe they talked to the NPCs on a previous playthrough, but not this time. And then as I make my way up towards the undead giants, I start seeing health bars, so I realize that's where they're at. And just track enemies down, track your opponents down using what enemies they've already killed. I start this fight off with the Doomsday weapons, the +10 hammer and the +9 Ludwig's Holy Blade, because it's either I take the risk of 2-shotting you, or I take the risk of you 2-shotting me, and I'm going to pick me 2-shotting you every time. You can see these guys have done some real damage to me, but I don't know how. This guy dies to a single L2 attack, just gets absolutely obliterated, 1 shot by the hammer. The host hits me a few times. I see he's not doing a shit ton of damage, so I'll switch to the +6 weapons. These have weaker gems in them, and they're less upgraded, so it'll give this guy like a better chance, a better fight. Now, to challenge myself here, I'm not going to heal. I'm just going to fight this guy straight up. This way, if I win, I don't have to restock, and I still get like a little bit of a challenge, as well as when I start getting low on health. Look at this, the rolling R1 into the L1. What a beautiful combo. What a beautiful combo. And you can do that with R2 into L1. You can do it with R1 into L1, L2 into L1, rolling R1 into L1, just like I did. But yeah, back to what I was saying. 3 reasons why I'm not going to heal. 1, gives me a bit of a challenge. 2, I don't have to restock my blood vials after the invasion. And 3, it keeps this guy aggressive. This guy wants to continue fighting me because he can look and see that I've not healed. And, like, I look closer to dead than he does, right? So it gives him incentive to continue the fight and not feel like, he's not going to win. Is he going to win? No. Right there you saw an L2 into another L2, which is a nice roll catch. He's not going to win, but as long as he keeps doing damage, I mean, there's a chance he could. I've had people beat me when I do this, and that's fine. It's fine if they beat me. I don't have to restock my blood bullets or my blood vials or my quicksilver bullets afterwards. It's just great. Just keep those 3 things in mind when you're doing invasions, especially against these like underpowered hosts. L1 into R1 into R1 into L1 again. Oh, it's beautiful with this thing. And then check out, you can actually roll catch people with this weapon easily. Boom. It's an ultra great sword, and I'm roll catching with it easily. How great is that? Oh, it's just phenomenal. Just phenomenal. Again, not getting an invasion will silence the bell. Boom, instant invasion. Now, I'm going to show off something here I've picked up from watching Damnation 7 streams. Such an awesome guy. Got a really great Bloodborne PvP stream that he does. Check him out. Damnation_V117, the Roman numeral. We've got an NPC here. So I free aim the Numbing Mist, and now the fact that she has infinite blood vials no longer concerns us. We can actually kill this NPC, which is fantastic. We're using the +6 Ludwig's Holy Blade for this fight. I should have honestly switched to the +9 for the NPC, but whatever. The host was trying his best to keep us off of her, which was clever. but we were able to get rid of her. She doesn't have, you know, she has infinite blood vials, but she can't use them. There we see our opponent. He hit me with an R2, and then he followed it up with like 3 consecutive R1s. Always does 3 R1s. So I went for the L1 transformed, I guess the unzip with this weapon. It's a great combo. It's a great roll catcher. You know, it throws people's timing off if they dodge out, but they don't dodge far enough away. I'm telling you, the L1 button being an attack is so beautiful. And then this beautiful hitbox porn on the ravioli step to get me out of danger. Love those things. They're great. They don't have iframes, but when pretty stuff like that happens, they just, oh, they seem worth it. L1 into R1 into L1. We both go for the wake up parry. Neither of us gets it, obviously. This guy just spamming R1. So we hit him with an L2, backstep, R1. And we did that charge forward block attack. You have block frames during that attack. You have hyper armor during that attack. And it does decent damage, especially to somebody who's low on health. Kirkhammer also has an attack that's like that. Keep those attacks in mind. They're very good attacks. With the Kirkhammer, it's running R1. With the Ludwig's Holy Blade, it's backstep R1. So, here we find 3 Gonkers. Maybe Gankers? I don't know. So I immediately switched to the Doomsday weapons, +9 and +10. We've got the Blades of Mercy, we've got the Hunter's Axe, and we've got a Kirkhammer. The L2 just immediately, beautiful dash catch, finishes that person off. 1 hit, looking great. Another L2, I'm sorry, fully charged R2 that time. It's basically bait for the follow-up R2, which is a golf swing, just sends people flying. More like a baseball swing, I guess, but it's gorgeous either way. Now, the host here, he's going to rely on fully charged R2s with the Hunter's Axe. It's all noob players do this. It's either that or gun spam. I had one clip. I didn't end up using it in the video, but basically I just practiced parries against a guy who kept doing that. So there we have the L1 R1 unzip, which is just an awesome attack with Ludwig's Holy Blade. If you manage to hyper armor through, the follow-up R1 is a true combo. Gonna hit him with a running R2 there because he's dashing backwards in a straight line. Easy heal parry. And then, like the nice gentleman I am, I switch back to my easier weapons, despite the fact that these 3 Gonkers were hanging out and showed me no mercy. I'm still gonna, you know, show some mercy to the host, play around with him. But he's decided he wants to just run away. I should have, if I had known now, I'm sorry, if I had known then what I know now, I would have closed this guy's shortcuts on him. I typically don't close shortcuts on people because I'm not an absolute dickhead. But man, if you're gonna run away and then on top of that disconnect like an absolute bitch, yeah, totally should have closed that guy's shortcuts. But I didn't, alas. This R1, L1 Hyper Armor, R1 True Combo, L1 Transformed Attack is Bloodborne PvP. And I fucking love it. Please, Shadows die twice. New game win. Hashtag new game win. Thank you guys for sticking around. I hope you enjoyed coming on the hunt with me. Till next time. Later, y'all.